Today we're going to look at the attitude and emotion and intonation in respect to these. Something that I want to highlight is that what is intonation? Well, intonation is the rise and fall of pitch. Okay, that's basically the rise and fall of pitch, going up and down in pitch. Now, we can learn a lot about a speaker's emotion from the intonation of their voice. Okay, from how does whether their voice pitches upwards or downwards. Okay, so let's move on now. Which sentence sounds excited? Which sentence sounds disappointed? Okay, I'm gonna read each sentence, and I want you to tell me which is an excited intonation and which is disappointed intonation. Okay, number one. I am really surprised about that. Okay, number two. I am really surprised about that. Okay, so which one was the excited one? Okay, number one was the excited one. Okay, and number two was the disappointed one. Let's look at the intonation for number one. Okay, number one. I'm really surprised about that. Okay, it goes down, up and down, up and down. And number two, disappointed, it starts a little bit halfway and then it just goes all the way down. I am really surprised about that. Okay, now let's move on. Now, when a speaker is expressing strong feelings, their voice goes up and down more than usual. So if I look at the excited one, it has the pitch, the change in pitch is greater, but the disappointed one tends to be very mellow change. Okay, let's look at this again. I am really surprised about that. Okay, and disappointed, mild disappointment. Strong excitement versus mild disappointment. I am really surprised about that. Okay, moving on now. This is strong and this is weak. So strong excitement, weak disappointment. Okay, let's look at a chart with emotions. Okay, I'm going to read these statements and I'm going to show you that each different emotion attitude has its own emotion contours, pitch contour, pitch change in pitch. Okay, then I will talk about the different ones and what they mean and what they look like. Okay, so the emotion, it's a statement. Okay, example: my wife is pregnant. Context: that's why she can't drink wine. Okay, let's get the statement: my wife is pregnant. That's why she can't drink wine. Okay, this very mellow statement, not strong, just mellow. Okay, let's look at uncertainty. Okay, my wife is pregnant. Did I hear you correctly? Okay, let's look at that contour, that change in pitch. My wife is pregnant. Did I hear you correctly? You can see that with uncertainty, the pitch rises up as almost as if it's a question. Okay, disinterest. That's like having no interest. Okay. My wife is pregnant. So what? This is the fifth kid. Okay, the context. Anyways, let's look at that contour, that change in pitch. My wife is pregnant. So what? This is the fifth kid. You can see that the pitch goes down. Just like disappointment, disinterest just tends to go down. Let's look at enthusiasm, a little bit more positive. Okay. My wife is pregnant. This is our first child. Okay, you hear it go up, but it goes down, right? Let's look at that contour, that change in pitch. My wife is pregnant. This is our first child. Okay, it goes up and down. If I want to make it strong enthusiasm. My wife is pregnant. This is our first child. Okay, you can hear that big change in pitch right there. Let's look at disbelief. Okay. My wife is pregnant, but she's 60 years old. Okay. Let's look at that change in pitch. My wife is pregnant, but she's 60 years old. Okay, there's the context. And let's look at anger. Okay, with disbelief, you can see that it starts at the very top, goes all the way down, and then jumps right back up. Strong disbelief. And again, like uncertainty, it's like a question. Okay, Let's look at anger now. Okay, anger does something interesting. My wife is pregnant? I'm not ready for this. Okay, well, let's look at that because that one is a little bit interesting. The change in pitch for anger falls on each word because when we are angry, we tend to stress each word singly. Okay, my wife is pregnant? I'm not ready for this. You can hear that stress and the change in tone falls on each word. Okay, so again, let me talk a little bit about strong versus weak. Okay, once again, when a speaker is expressing strong feelings, their voice goes up and down more than usual. Okay, so there's weak and strong, a greater change in pitch if it's strong feeling, uh, a smaller change in pitch when it's weaker. Okay, let's look at an example. All right, uncertainty. My wife is pregnant. Okay, disbelief. My wife is pregnant? Okay, let's look at uncertainty. My wife is pregnant? Disbelief. My wife is pregnant? Okay, here it's weak. Here it's strong. Okay, it goes up, goes so far up, it even goes outside of the boundaries of the table. But, anyways, okay, so weak uncertainty. My wife is pregnant. Strong disbelief. My wife is pregnant? Okay, now, so quickly, something about rising versus falling. Something interesting when it's disinterest, boredom, or disappointment, the intonation tends to fall. When it's enthusiasm or excitement or disbelief, you have rising intonation. Okay, so falling intonation, rising intonation. For excitement, disbelief, and enthusiasm, rising. For disinterest, boredom, and disappointment, falling. Okay? So what? This is the fifth kid. My wife is pregnant. And falling. Okay? Enthusiasm, excitement, disbelief, rising. This is our first child. My wife is pregnant. See? It rises. Okay? So, don't worry. The LMS exercises will require you to identify more specific emotions such as anger and curiosity, but by using the speaker's voice and words, you can figure this out. However, in the real world, when we meet people, we have other cues such as smiling and crying, and these help us to identify their emotions. In the same way, we can also provide other people with cues about our emotions, such as telling your listener, I'm angry. So if you have a hard time expressing your emotion or utilizing intonation to signal your emotion, you can just tell with words. For the exercises regarding the pregnant wife, my wife is pregnant, those came from the book by Celsius, Merton, Brinton, and Goodwin and Greiner. Okay, so those are my examples. They're from a book. To conclude, I hope that you enjoyed this presentation. If you have any thoughts, questions, or concerns, please email me, and I look forward to seeing you in class.